This conference will now be recorded.
You can duplicate this and you can call it as remaining quantity if you want. Done. Okay. Let me do a rebuild. Okay, in that time it will get built. I think I got something on WhatsApp. Let me tell you. Okay, someone asked about the label. Hey, first of all, please remember you are creating label on the extended data type. So that label will be there only for EDT. If you want to get that label on the table, if you apply EDT, you are not going to get it because the labels can be defined at different levels. Okay, the labels can be defined at the form level. The label can be defined at the table field level. The label can be defined at the EDT level. Okay,
So,
because I told you. So, yeah.
sorry. So it means if we define any label at the EDT label or base enum, it won't copy to the field of the table.
It will not copy, but whereas if you open in the form, it will
Uh-huh.
take the precedence. Okay, the first precedence will be for form labels. In the form, whatever the labels you have defined, that will be the first precedence. And in the form, if you have not defined any label at the form data source field, then it will come back to the table field. If it is not found at the table field, then it will go to EDT. This is how it works. It is not going to copy anything. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so today we are going to start with the queries. So first of all, I want to give you some introduction. Okay, see here, coming to the queries in Dynamics 365 or AX 2012 or Dynamics AX, let me call it as Dynamics AX. They are divided into different types. Okay, because whenever I say queries, these queries can be written inside the code, and we can call them as select statements. Okay, the first type of queries that you can write in Dynamics AX are called select statements. Okay, and these select statements are similar to that of a SQL selects. Okay, in SQL as well we have a select statements, and these are similar to that of a SQL selects. And the second one is called AOT queries. AOT queries means application object tree queries. Okay, application object tree queries. So in the application object tree, we have a node called queries. And if you're creating a queries in that graphical user interface, okay, in that graphical user interface, then we will call them as AOT queries. And the third one is called XPP queries. Okay, third one is called XPP queries. And if we have something called query object model, we have query object model in Dynamics AX. Using the query classes, if we are writing the queries, then we will call them as XPP queries. Okay, we will call them as XPP queries. So after saying all this, all the time the first question that I used to get, the first question I used to get is about the performance, which will be faster and which will be slower. See here, all the three queries will execute at the same time. Okay, it's a myth that AOT queries will execute faster, XPP queries will execute faster. It's not like that. Okay, why the queries will take same time? Even if it is a select statement or AOT query or XPP query, it should in turn be converted into SQL select statement. It should in turn be converted into SQL select statement, and then it should get executed. Then one more question. Then why we have three? One should be enough, na? Because there is a purpose. Okay. See here, sometimes let's say we will have a requirement of showing the data from multiple tables. Let's say some 10 or 12 tables. In that case, instead of adding all the 10 or 12 tables to the form and then adding the joins, links, all that stuff, what we will do is we will create a simple AOT query. We will create a AOT query and then we will add that AOT query to the form. That is the purpose of AOT query. Let's say you have a count. You want to fetch the count of the records. You want to perform the max operation or min operation, and whatever the amount of data that you want to fetch inside the form is very less. Then we will use the select statements. Select statement to fetch or manipulate the data. Okay, small amount of data, and then if you want to perform some business logic, use select statements. You want to display the data on the form, then use AOT queries. And in the form you have a data source, and you want to add a range to the data source dynamically. You want to add a range to the data source on the form. Then we will use XPP queries. Okay, because most of the times the people used to think, oh, XPP queries is the latest one and it is the faster, because we are writing the class and we are using the query object model. But it's not like that. Okay, all the three types of queries are same. They are going to fetch the similar type of data, but only difference is this one, the usage, how they are being used, and the purpose of them is different. Please remember, this is very, very important. Okay, and now coming to the next thing, how to work with the select statements. First of all, we will start with the select statements and then we will move forward. Okay, I think the build is finished. I will remove sync. Okay, I will set sync to false back, apply. Okay, now I will create a new class, runnable class. Okay, I will call this as AMA select statements. Okay, because whatever you can do with one of them, now you can do with the others as well, with minor differences. Okay, just a second, it is loading. Okay, now first thing we need to remember is, if we want to use a select statement in my code, okay, if I want to use a select statement in my code, the first thing I need to do is I need to create a table buffer. Okay, whatever I need to do is I need to create a table buffer. To create a table buffer, we will use a table name, and then we will create the variable of the table. So for example, if it is AMA address, I will use AMA address and then address. Okay, and please remember, most of the times I saw when they are creating the table buffers, they will say I, J, K, something like that. But please don't do that. It will be very difficult for you to find out what is it. So we need to give them meaningful names to the table buffer. We need to give meaningful names to the table buffer. And if you ask me the convention of Microsoft, whatever we will do is we will use AMA address. The same table name we will use as the buffer name. This is how we use it. This is how we use it. Okay. And if you want to write the select statement, you need to follow the syntax. Whenever we are working with a programming language, syntax is very important. Syntax is very important. You need to follow that syntax. Okay, so how that syntax would be? The syntax is very simple here. Select parameters, as simple as this. Okay, what we will do is we will simply write the select and then parameters. Now, what does this parameters contain? It is very important to understand. What does these parameters contain? The parameters can contain find options, the parameters can contain field lists, the parameters can contain indexes, the parameters can contain the where clause. Like that, you can have anything in this parameters. Okay. Now, what does this parameters contain? At the beginning, if you want, if you're working with the select statements, then you will have find options. Okay, you will have find options. Whenever you are working with the select statements, the first thing you need to define is the find option. So what are these find options? These find options, we have something called first only. Okay, first one I want to say is about the first only. What is this first only? If you want to fetch only one record from the database, we will use first only. Similarly, we have first. You have multiple records in the database, but you want to fetch first record faster. To do that, we have fast. Similarly, we have first only 10, first only 100, first only 1000. Okay, these are similar to top 10 because we don't have top 1, top 2, top 3 like that. We have only one record, 10 records, 100 records, 1000 records. Okay, 1000 records. These are few of the find options. Along with this, we have an option called reverse. If you want to fetch the data in the reverse order, okay, reverse order in the sense, let's say by default you have the primary index. On that primary index, Dynamics AX will fetch the data. So on the primary index, the records you will get in the sorted order. If you want to get them in the reverse order of the sorted order, then you will use reverse. Then we will use reverse. And then if we want to update the record in a table, we need to use for update. We need to use for update. Okay. Similarly, there are few more things which I will explain later on. Okay, because first of all, you need to understand how to write the query. Then only I would be able to explain. Okay. And here I want to say the last one is cross company. Okay, because by default you will get data only from one company. If you want to get data from multiple companies, you need to get using cross company. Okay, I will show you how to do that. Don't worry. So once you are done with adding the find options, the next thing you need to add is field list. Okay, please remember, if you want to get all the records from the table, I will say don't do that. Never, because you have the data area ID, you have the partition, you have the recursion. There are dead fields which you might not use. If you are not using that field, then there is no need of fetching it. You are going to save the memory. Memory is the important point when you are working with performance. Okay, the low memory. If you consume low memory, the performance will be good. If you consume more memory, the performance will be bad. So whatever you need to do is you need to try to fetch and you need to write a program in such a way that you should use only whatever you are getting from the database. Whatever you are working on the code, you need to get it from DB. You should not get all the fields which are not being used. Okay, so for that we will specify the field list, and after the field list you will use table buffer variable. Once you are done with the variable, the next thing you will specify is the index clause. What is it? We will specify index clause. And in this index clause, we have two things that we can do. One is called index, and the second one is called index hint. Okay, we will see the difference between both of them when I will explain you this in detail. Don't worry. And after defining the index clause, we will have options. So what are these options? In these options, order by, group by, okay, order by, group by, ascending order, descending order. Okay, these are your options. These are the options that we have. Okay, and And then we will define the where clause at this position. After options, we will define the where clause. We will write whatever the conditions we need. And then here comes the join clause. If you want to do a multiple joins, we will use join clause here. Okay. We will write a very simple query and then we will check. Okay. I will say select star from AMA address. Okay. Select star from AMA address. So how many records will this query return? What do you think?
All record from address table.
Remember here, first of all, you need to see AMA address is a table buffer. Here the concept is table as a class. Oh, okay. Here AMA address is the object. How many records can the object hold? 1, 2, 3, 4. How many? An object can hold only one record. So if you are using select star from AMA address, it will fetch only one record from the database based on the primary index. Okay, it will fetch only one record from the database. Please remember this. Okay, it is not going to fetch all the records. That is the case of SQL. Okay, which is why you need to remember there's a difference between SQL and dynamic CX. Okay, there is a difference between SQL and dynamic CX. Here we have used star from. So what is meant by star? Star means get all the fields. Now let me write info and then I will use strfmt and I want to print few details. Okay, I will say country hyphen percentile 1. Okay, country hyphen percentile 1 comma state hyphen percentile 2 comma district hyphen percentile 3 comma city hyphen percentile 4. Okay, done. These are the 4 fields I want to fetch. Comma. If you want to get some value from the table, you need to use AMA address, the table buffer dot field name. 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 Done. Okay. Now the same thing you can do in a different way because I am not fetching the zip code and all the stuff now. Then what is the purpose of star? I want only these fields. What I can do? I can say select this thing I don't like in this dynamic CX because it will take the table buffer automatically. It will be irritating, and then it will take that place backside. Okay, select country, state, district, city from AMA address. This is how we can use the field list. This is how we can use the field list. And similarly, if you want to fetch all the records from the database, okay, if you want to fetch all the records from the database, you can use while select and then you can say AMA address. Okay, and remember whenever you are using the while select, use again this one. And as for the best practice, if you have a one more keyword here, you need to write it in the next line. While select these details from this one, and then you can use here. Save. Okay. And if you want to see the difference, because if you might be confused, okay, I'm using AMA address anywhere. Anyways, there will be no difference. But what I will do is I will create 3 variables for the sake of convenience. Okay, so that you can see the difference. I will call this as 1. I will call this as 2. I will take this address 1 and I will paste that address 1 here. I will take this address 2. I will paste this address 2 here. Okay, done. Now I will add a breakpoint here. and let me save this. Okay, I'll set this select statements as the startup object, and let me run.
Do we need to change inside the info?
Good. I need to change it. I have not changed it. I will get all same details. Okay, just a second. I will change. A second, yeah. I'm waiting for it to come back. Okay, I need to change it to address 1, address 2, address 2, address 2, address 2, address 2. Okay, now let me run. Yeah, in the meantime, you can ask me if you have any questions.
So Kumar, which record it will retrieve, like the first one?
On the basis
You
of
told.
primary index.
Okay, so if zip code is the primary index, so it will. So zip code is unique. So whatever record, all record will be there. That it will retrieve only zip code. It will retrieve right, from there.
You are asking only zip code field, or it will
No,
retrieve?
like if I'll execute select star from address, so what result will become?
I will get all the records. That means I will get one record on the basis
Mm.
of primary index. Okay, the first record on the basis of primary index I will get.
So that will contain everything: country, state,
It will
district,
contain
and
everything. Yes. Okay, I will show you. That's what I want to show you. Just a second. Okay, if you wait for a minute now, I will show you this thing.
okay.
Okay. Now, first of all, you can see there are 3 table buffers here. Okay. This is the AMA address table buffer. And let me do one thing. Let me press F10 and check what it has done. Okay, it came back. Now you can see I have the base field, city, country, district, state, street, zip code. I got the data of all the fields here. Okay. And remember, here you can see there are 2 things, base fields. In the base fields, you can see you have created by, created date time, created transaction ID, modified by, modified date time. All these are the system fields here. If you use select to start from now, it is going to fetch the data of all these fields as well. Okay. And similarly, extension. If we create the extension, that fields will be stored in the extension fields. We will see that later on. Okay. I will show you how to work with table extensions very soon. We will see at that time. And now this is about AMA address. Now let me press F10 again. It will print the informative message. Okay. And then now let's see the second table buffer, AMA address 1. Okay. Now let's see. Can you see this? Street and zip code is null. Why it is null? Because I'm not fetching it. Because I don't need them for my business logic. So if you do this, you are going to save the memory here. Okay. This is how we save the memory. This is how we save the memory. Whereas if I pull select star from, what will happen? I will get street and zip code where it will occupy some amount of memory. Let's say some 60 bytes or 70 bytes or 100 bytes. I don't want to do that. This is how we will work with the performance. And if you want to fetch the records from the memory, the whole set of records, then we will use while select. Okay. And remember, this is again an address table which is shared. So we would not be able to work with cross company in this table. Okay. Because this is a shared table, because the data will be same across all the companies. Okay. Now the next thing. Okay. Let me do one thing. Let me take this while select. And this time what I want to do is I want to print zip code as well. Okay. I will say comma zip code. Okay. And I will comment out this two. Now I don't want them now. Okay. And I want to take this zip code. I will use it here, comma zip code hyphen percentile 5, comma AMA address 2 dot zip code. Done. Okay. Similarly, anyways, I'm not using AMA address here, so I will take this here now, and I will use comma zip code. Okay. Now I will use AMA. Okay, I need to copy this. Zip code, and here comma zip code hyphen percentile 5. Done. Okay. And now I am getting the zip code as well. Now let me do something here. I have while select find options, first only, first to first. Okay. Here I will use first only because I want to see the difference. What happens if I use first only and first to first? Okay. If you have more number of records, you can see the difference. But I want to show you one more difference. Okay. I'm using first only here. I'm using first to first here. I will take, anyways, we have one more table buffer. So I will copy this again. I will paste it here. Address to address, and I will get address 1. Where is address 1? Yeah, this one. Okay. And here I have, along with the first to first, I can apply reverse. I am applying reverse as well here. Okay. Now let's see what happens. I am adding a breakpoint. Run. Okay. Let it hit the breakpoint. Okay, it has hit the breakpoint now. You can see the effect of first only. Now F10. Okay, how many records got printed? Only one record. Why? That is the effect of first only. If you want to get only one record from the database, then you will use first only. I have used while select, even then you will get only one record. Okay, now first it is actually here you cannot find the difference of first because it will get all the records, but it will fetch the first record faster. Whereas if you have n number of records, okay, if you have 1 lakh or 2 lakh records, then you will find the difference. Okay, 40021 10026 50016. Okay, done. It has got the records. Okay, and I think the index is different here, which is why you can see there are 40021. You got it the first one zip code. Okay, I think the primary index we might have set differently. 1 second, we can check. Or else we will see why it is fetching like that, because in AX it should fetch the records on the basis of primary index only. What is the primary index? Surrogate key. Yeah. Primary index is surrogate key. I think we have modified it. Okay, primary index is not zip code. When we have modified replacement key, na, we have modified primary index to surrogate key. Okay, which is why it is fetching on the base of record ID. Okay, it is fetching the data on the base of record ID index. Next, here I am trying to fetch in the reverse order. Now let's see the difference. Okay, last 50016. Next you will get 10026. No, 40021 on the base of record ID. And then what is the next record? 10026. Okay, so this is how it is going to work in Dynamics AX. This is how queries work in Dynamics AX. Now we have seen all these queries. This is good. Okay, now I have New Delhi, Karnataka, Telangana. Like this, I have data from different states. Okay, now let's assume I want to get the data where state belongs to Telangana. How to get that? Okay, I want to get the data where state belongs to Telangana. How to get that? Okay, so to do that, whatever we do is here we will write one more condition with where clause, where AMA address dot state equal to Telangana. This is how we will write. Okay, this is how we will write. And similarly, let's say you have a requirement along with Telangana, you want to get the data of Karnataka as well. At that point, okay, in case of SQL, we will use R, but this is not there in this one. So what we will do? We will say or using the pipe AMA address dot state equal to Karnataka. Okay. Similarly, if you want to have the matching, if both of them needs to match, then what we will do? Let's say you want to get Telangana and Hyderabad city. Then you will say state equal to Telangana and city equal to Hyderabad. This is how we will do. Okay, you can use all the logical operators here. Okay, so what are the different logical operators that we can use here? We have different types of logical operators. We have, what are the different logical operators? It's common in every programming language here.
And or not.
Exactly, and or not, equals. Okay, again, equals is a relational operator. Okay, if you want to, let's say, where zip code is greater than or equal to some value as is it integer. I want to get where zip code is greater than or equal to 5,65,000. Then I can use greater than or equal to. Similarly, less than or equal to, greater than, less than. Like this, you can use whatever the operator you want. Okay, you can use whatever the operator you want. Only one thing you need to do is you need to add that operator in this form, either or, not, XOR. Okay, like this, you can use whatever the operators you want. Okay, If you want to use some arithmetic operator and perform that, you can do that. If you want to use some logical operator or the relational operator, you can do that. Okay, so what are the relational operators here? You can use less than or equal to, greater than or equal to, greater than or equal to, less than, greater than, and then, or if you want to compare using the AND condition, you will use AND. Okay, AND. Or if you want to use NOT, you will use the exclamatory symbol. We will use the exclamatory symbol. And if you want a comparison whether they are equal to or not, you can say equal to equal to. Now you can see here I have used state equal to Telangana or state equal to Karnataka. This is how we will use relational operators. Relational operators. And from those operators you can use whatever the operator you want. Okay, whatever the operator you want, you can use them here. Okay, now what we will get? We will get the records where the condition meet the criteria. State is Telangana or state is Karnataka. And similarly, now I want to get the data on the basis of city. Okay, then we can use order by, and then we can say AMA address dot city. By default, if you don't specify anything, it will take ascending order. It will take ascending order. And if you want to get them in the descending order, you need to specify explicitly DASC. Okay? By default, you will get in the ascending order. If you want to get them in the descending order, you need to specify that explicitly. You need to specify that explicitly. Okay? This is how we work with the queries. Okay, now let me add a breakpoint and debug again. Save, run. What is the error? Join expected. Okay, what it is saying is you are adding the order by, it's well and good. Add it over here. Okay, this is what it says. Because if you remember, I have defined the parameters. Where clause will be after order by group by. Order by group by and then where clause and then join clause. Remember, similarly for other find options, first only 10 means it will fetch only 10 rows. First only 100 means it will fetch only 100 rows. First only 1000 means it will fetch only 1000 rows. Okay, please remember this.
Hello. In case of select statements, if we use first only 10, then also it will fetch only one record.
You need to use next along with select. If you want to get multiple records, then what you need to do is you need to select the record and then you need to use the next clause. You need to write a while loop for that. Okay, what next will do is again it will go and hit the database and then it will fetch the next record. Because with select, even use if you use first only 10, you will get only one record. Okay, that is the limitation. Okay, now let's see here what happens. It will execute the query and it will fetch the data only that belongs to Karnataka and Telangana. Done. Okay, this is how we are going to work with the where clause. And in the where clause, you can use the relational operators. Okay, you can use the relational operators for comparison inside the where clause. And in this relational operators, you have one more operator called like. Okay, we have,
Kumar,
yeah.
sorry to interrupt you in between, but when we notice that select will only find the first record, then what is the use of first only in that case?
When you are working with the while select, okay,
Not very
you,
clear.
uh,
When we want that we need only first record, we are looking for the first record only,
huh?
then what is the use of find first in that case?
It's like top one, yeah. It's like top one in SQL. Okay, if you want to fetch only one record, then we will use select first only. Okay, or
So this
select
is
statement as well.
correct.
Okay, I will tell you. Okay, 1 second. See
Yeah.
here, what will happen is we have a statement called next. Okay, if you, because next is used very rarely, I can say, or it will not be used. Okay, for example, let me say I am using this select star from address. Okay, select star from AMA address, and then let's say I have printed the value. Okay, what I can do is I can say next AMA address, copy, paste. Here what will happen is this next will again go and hit the database, and then it will get the record, next record. Okay, but your requirement is to get only one record from the database. Is that right? You want to get only one record.
Correct.
If you are using next, you are getting the second record. If you use the first only with the select statement, what will happen? It will fetch only one record. Even if you use next, it is not going to work there. This is how the first only is used. Got
So
it?
is there anything related to the performance with first only or simply select?
First is related to performance,
No, no, no,
not
first
first
only.
only. First only is not related
Okay.
because first fast, it will fetch the first record faster. Okay, that is related to the performance, not the first only. Because it's like top one. Even if you select na, it will fetch the top one record on the base of index. So there is no difference.
Correct. This is why I was asking.
Okay, now let's come back here. I was saying like. Okay, there's a keyword called like, but actually I think I forgot this, but let me remember. When you are using the like, there's one hotkey here, I think percentile.
Yes,
Percentage. Yeah.
Okay, and then mm,
it's something HYD initial
1 second. I'm using the state.
DEL. Some
Okay, so percentile, and I can give whatever the value that I need. So what it will do is this like keyword, it will compare the value that I am providing here, and then it will check whether the state has the matching criteria here or not. Okay, and if there is a matching criteria, then it will go and fetch the record. If we don't have the matching criteria, it will not fetch the record. Okay, that is the purpose of like, but frankly speaking, don't use like in your code. Okay, because if you are using like, you are saying that I don't know what I can get. Okay, I don't know what I can get, this is what it means. Okay, so don't use like. Please remember, this should be the first time and this should be the last time. In SQL, only to fetch the data for testing purposes we will use like, and in all the other cases we should not use the like statement. Okay, you should match the conditions correctly here. Okay, because there is a possibility that this like might retrieve multiple records on one go. Okay, depending on the data you have. For example, if I say city and if I compare with like, I want to fetch only one record, but there is a possibility of fetching multiple records when we are using the like statement. what will happen? You wrote a select statement to update the data. You thought you will get one record. You used like statement, but there are three records. You will end up with updating the wrong record instead of updating the right record. Okay, so don't use like keyword. Okay, instead of that, you need to use the comparison. And whenever you are trying to update the data, one more thing that you need to keep in mind is you should write a where clause where you should retrieve the record uniquely. Okay, if you are working with the updation of the data, for example, let's say I want to update the record. If I want to update the record, I need to use the first thing is exception handling. Please remember, whenever you are trying to perform the CRUD operation, you need to use exception handling. Okay, I'm not catching the specific exceptions, so I am using a generalized exception manner. I will say select for update AMA address where AMA address dot city equal to Hyderabad. Okay, I want to update the record where city equal to Hyderabad. So now, how many of you say this is the right way of updating the data, and how many of you say this is the wrong way? Please go ahead. Hey, how many of you say this is right way, and how many of you say this is wrong way?
Wrong way.
Why it is the wrong way?
And try and catch a spot to catch the error, not for the
No, no,
updation of
no.
the.
I'm not speaking about the exception handling. Okay, because
Because
whenever you are updating
we are
the
not
data, yep.
setting the value which what we want to update actually.
No. 1 second. Let me do that. I am using TTS begin. Whenever you are working with the transaction tracking system, you need to use what you need to use? Exception handling. Okay, which is why I wrote it. Let me update this. Okay, I am updating the country to IND here, and then AMA address dot. Here we have few methods for updation. One is do update. Either you can use do update. So if you're using the do update, it will bypass the update method. Okay, I will show you what is update method and what is do update. Don't worry. Or you can also use AMA address dot update. This is another method. Or if you want to update, there is one more method, AMA address dot write. These are the three methods that we have. Don't worry, I will explain you what is the difference between them when we are discussing the table methods. Okay, I will tell you what is the difference, and then you need to use TTS commit. Okay, so why we will use exception handling when we are working with the transaction tracking system is I wrote TTS begin and TTS commit here. Okay, so if you are using the exception handling, let's say if there is a exception while updating the data or deleting the data, it will go to catch. Inside the catch, it will automatically get aborted, because most of the times I found developers writing TTS abort here, but there is no need of writing TTS abort in the catch. Okay, why we need to use exception handling along with transaction tracking system is it will abort the statement automatically when you are using exception handling. If you are not using exception handling, then you need to explicitly abort the transaction. Please remember this. Okay, now how many of you say this is right way of updation or not? Hey, please speak out. I'm waiting for your response.
I
Is
will
this
say
right or wrong?
this is right now.
Okay, this is right now. Okay, why do you think this is right? Because
Because
if you see here,
we have filtered.
I am using AMA address where address.city equal to Hyderabad. Let's say with city equal to Hyderabad, I have 10 records. Which record I need to update? What select statement will do? On the base of primary index, it will fetch the first record and then it will update. Is it right? On the base of index, it will fetch the record and then it will update. Okay, and again remember, when I am saying primary index, 90% of the cases it will take primary index. Okay, but if you have defined some more non-clustered indexes, let's say for example you have defined 5 indexes, okay, at that point SQL will check which index is best and then it will pull the data based on that index. Okay, because let's say you have 1 lakh or 2 lakh records in your table now, and you have defined 5 or 10 indexes, then it is not guaranteed that it is going to pick the primary index all the time. Okay, I have only very few records, which is why I'm saying primary index obviously, but it's not all the time. Okay, based on the data that you are pulling, based on the select statement you wrote, it will check the best suitable index and then it will fetch the data. Okay, now let's say in my table I have 10 records with city Hyderabad. Which record I want to update here? Because I wrote select statement, it will fetch one record and then it will update. Which record it will update? So this is wrong way of planning. When you are updating the data, if you are trying to do this, you will fail. Your code will fail. So whatever you need to do is, whenever you are trying to update the data, whatever the thing that you use in the where clause, it should retrieve only one record. It should retrieve only one record. If it returns multiple records, you're gone. You will end up with updating the wrong information. You will end up with updating the wrong information. So now, in this case, what we need to do is, I need to use address dot. You can use zip code, or if you want to get the data on the base of country and all that, then what you need to do? Then you need to write all those fields here. Okay, at any point of time, if you are updating the data, you need to use for update, you need to use transaction tracking system, and here there is one more wrong thing. Can anyone tell me what is that?
It
Let's
will
say
update only first record, one record.
no. That's what I said. If you are using select statement, you are saying that I want to update only one record. Okay, here one more thing that is wrong is, you got the zip code value, but let's say record not found. Even then you are trying to update in the transaction, it will obviously go to error. So what you need to do? You need to use if clause, and then you need to say AMA address. If address is available, then only update. This is what you need to write. Okay, but you know, most of the times, the most common mistakes, people will forget transaction tracking system, people will not use exception handling, and obviously if you don't use exception handling, that is a big mess. Okay, because you wrote TTS begin and TTS commit and you are not aborting, so what will happen? You will get always one error: transaction not aborted, transaction not aborted, transaction not aborted. Okay, your AOS will get filled up with that error. Okay, so whenever you are working with the update, this is how you need to update the data. Okay, please remember, this is how you need to update the data. Now let me run this. In the meantime, please let me know if you have any questions.
What is the use of this TTS begin and TTS?
That is used for transaction tracking system. Okay, let's say you are trying to update the data. Okay, today you are updating the data, tomorrow you found that there is some issue with that update and you want to revert it back. Okay, you found there is some issue with the data and you want to revert it back. At that point, if there is no transaction, you would not be able to revert the data. Okay, which is why we will use transactions.
So we can use rollback also, TTS rollback or something like that.
There is no TTS rollback, but you will have the transaction ID. Using that, we can roll back in SQL. That's a different way again.
And can we update the records from outside the Dynamics? Like
Yeah, you can do that. You can do that in SQL as well, but that is not a practice. You can do that because anyways, in Dynamics AX as well,
no,
it is a DB.
SQL is not recommended, but like if you have any service object or something like this to use in the custom pages of ASP.NET and
If you are
Can we
using
update?
custom object, no, you should not update. You need to call that C# code from AX code, and then you need to get back the data, and then you need to update. This is how you need to do. All the updates should be done only from AX. All the CRUD operations should be done on AXDB only from Dynamics AX. You should not do from any other database
In
or any other
other,
ASP.NET or SQL or anywhere. Yep.
yeah, in other Dynamics, I can say products like a CRM, we have a service object to call it and use it to create records and update records or delete records from outside the Dynamics.
That part you can create. Okay. That part you will have it here. That part you can do. Okay. You are saying about again a service. If you want
Yeah,
to do
sir.
the CRUD operations, you need to use that service. That you can do. That's what I'm saying. All the in the CRUD operations should be done in Dynamics AX. Either you can create a C# code and you can call the service. Either you can create a C# code and then you can consume it here. Anyways, it is fine. But the CRUD operation should be done in Dynamics AX.
Okay.
Now it has hit the breakpoint. 1 second, it's still loading. Okay, let me press F10. I don't know whether record is available or not. Record is available. TTS begin. Done. Commit. Done. Okay. This is how we need to update the record. Remember. Okay. This is very important here. For update, you need to follow the same process everywhere. Yep. Yeah, that's it for today. I think already we are out of time. Please let me know if you have any queries.
Kumar, one thing, like, see, what I understand, like, first only select the top one record, like whatever the top result is there, that it will select, and the first will select the fastest record which fetched by the indexes, right?
First record faster.
So it will also select the first record only, like
No,
top
it
one.
will select all the records, but it will select first record faster. Okay.
Oh,
Because
okay.
what it will do is you have the SQL buffer now. It will get the
Mhm.
first record and pull into the SQL buffer immediately. Okay.
And after that,
Because,
all record will display.
after that it will be same. After that it will be same again. Because it will start the processing. When you get the first record faster, you can start
Mhm.
processing in your business logic, and in the meantime
Mhm.
you will get the remaining records and you can process. That will be faster.
Okay, okay, Kumar, thank you.
Yep. Okay. So if there are no queries, I will end the session for everyone, and the remaining of select statements we will discuss tomorrow. Okay. Thanks all. Thank you all for the session. Let's meet again tomorrow same time. Bye.
Thanks, Kumar.